These women are preparing to face the past, a time when their lives were gripped by war. For Mevla, it's a day to confront memories. They're travelling back through the valleys they once called home, deep into what they now regard as enemy territory. They're Bosnian Muslims returning to Serb-held Bosnia. A decade ago, they were victims of a terrible crime. They were inmates in Serbian rape camps. The women have been threatened, warned not to turn up. A single Serbian police car their only protection. But they're determined. The group's leader, Bakira Hazecic, steals the troubled Mevla for the moment she'll face her kidnapper in court.
Pričaj istinu, samo istinu. Nipošto dodati nešto što nije istinu, a ne daj da te advokat isprovocira. Rekla sam i stojim iza toga i ovako je bilo.
Mevla's trauma runs especially deep. She was not alone when Serbs raped her.
I teško mi je, najteže mi u životu što sam doživjela od njih svi, tu 11 godina živjeti u komšiluku, da sam sve preživjela od njih, Ana, i odvođenje muža i silovanje pred rođeno 3 djece, a to stvarno nikad zaboraviti ne mogu, ni ja ni moja djeca. To mi najteže pada.
When they arrive, the authorities are meant to protect them. But here in Serb-held Bosnia, the accused has friends, even among the police. The women will not stay in this town. They would rather endure an 8-hour round trip than stay here a single night. Despite their fears, the women step forward to seek punishment for the men who destroyed their lives.
Od nekog čuli neko sažaljenje, mi ne želimo sažaljenja, mi smo za sažaljenja. Znači, idemo uzdignute glave i samo želimo da pobedi pravda i istina.
Today they're getting that wish. For Mevla, it's the first time she's seen her captor since she escaped. This time he's the one who's trapped, and although he's handcuffed, it's still hard for her to sit here surrounded by Serbs.
Nisam se dobro osjećala, sad sam zateptala. Srce mi je jako lupalo, noge su mi se tresle. Vidi. Sada se noge tresu. Možda sad kad je pocajac išao za mnom s puškom, ja sve nešto imam, ono, rekao predosća, vidim, nema bakirje, nema vas, rekao da nas ne streljaju s leđa. Ali da mi jedna kompas slika prešla kroz glavu.
This is the first time Muslim women have come to a court in the Serbian-dominated part of their country to bear witness against their attacker. For them, it's the first step on the long road to some form of justice. But many other women are still living in the shadow of the sexual violence used against them. Tens of thousands of women shared Mevla's fate. Estimates of the number of babies born as a result of these rapes are harder to come by. They range from a few hundred to more than 5,000. No one really knows. All Bosnians suffered the horror of war. In the 1990s, more than 200,000 people died when the former Yugoslavia collapsed in a series of bitter conflicts. Edhem Godinjak was the Bosnian police chief in charge of prisoner exchanges.
Znači da bi se jednostavno biološki uništila jedna populacija, znači nacionalna, jedna skupina ljudi, znači genocid je urađen na taj način da su ubijali, znači, djecu, žene. U to vrijeme zločinci, kako su rekli, kaže, kad izvrše obljubu i ne dozvole da se abortira. Kaže da rađa, nećeš abortirati, treba da rađa srpsku djecu.
During the war, Edhem took thousands of testimonies that convinced him rape was being used deliberately as a weapon of ethnic cleansing.
Znači, planski ciljano je urađeno, zatvorene su u javnu kuću ili u koncentracioni logor, gdje kažu da su silovane da bi rađale srpsku djecu. Znači, govori se o planu. Zadržavali su je do kasne trudnoće i poslije toga puštali. Život je onda u pitanju ako prije bi možda htjela da prihvati te muke.
Mevla was one of those imprisoned, deliberately held long into pregnancy. By the time she managed to reach a hospital to demand an abortion, she was 8 months pregnant.
Otišla sam drugi put, nije me primio, treći put sam ga zamolila i rekla sam, jer mi je ispred zgrade sve minirano bilo, ako me ne primi da će na minsko polje otići, da će poginuti ili da mi bortu staju radi. Struje nije bio, agregat je radio, 3 sata sam bila na stolu. Nema sestre koja nije ušla i doktora da nisu zaplakali za mnom, koju sam ja muku tad imala.
All the women here were raped repeatedly. Bakira has helped them form a group to seek compensation as victims of war and testify at the United Nations War Crimes Tribunal.
Mnoge su rodile, mnoge ostavile, a stotinama i stotinama žena su prekinule trudnoću. Ne želi da vidi to dijete, ne želi da čuje za to dijete, jer kad ga vidi, kad ga čuje, ona zna da je on plod silovanja njene patnje kroz koju je prošla.
Scores of raped women came to the Bosnian city of Zenica seeking refuge during the war. Marijana Senjak still runs the women's centre which supports those who had raped babies when they were still in their teens.
They were young girls mainly. They were close to their delivery, so they had resistance towards a child in their body, and they didn't accept the fact that they are pregnant. Very often they were telling, like, I don't feel that I am pregnant and that I have it. I don't think about this. You know, they deny this fact.
Night falls over Sarajevo, covering the scars of war. It's Ramadan in this mostly Muslim city, and sunset signals it's time to break the daily fast and to pray. During the war, Islamic religious leaders tried to protect Bosnia's rape victims. They told their communities such women should be supported, their children embraced.
First is that a woman who survived war rape is not guilty, but she is like a shaheed, like a hero who is killed on the God's road. So she is at the level of heroine. And that child born out of rape is born from a side of Muslim and will be member of Islamic and Muslim community, will be considered as a Muslim child and upbring as a Muslim child. So it helps a lot in Bosnian community.
i preživjeti te traume, ne samo silovanje, nego preživjeti traume kad dođeš na područje, slobodno područje, gdje možeš naići na osudu da u mentalitetu ljudi je tako, na osudu što si dozvolila da te siluju ili što ćeš roditi srpsko dijete i slično, to je veliki problem.
Jasmina became pregnant after being raped by a Croatian soldier.
Pa kad sam saznala sam trudno, jedino mi je bilo riješiti se trudnoće. Znala sam da će me podsjećati, znala sam da će... Pa sam osjećala mržnju jednostavno, onda sam... osjećala da sam mogla uzeti jednostavno nož da se isparam stomak, da svašta. Ovdje kad sam došla na pregled, prvi put kad smo je pregledali, rekla mi je doktorica da je žensko. Možda je to jedini, i ne možda, nego je sigurno jedini znak da je zadrži što je žensko.
Going through with the pregnancy brought Jasmina more pain.
Kad je meni bila mala, ona meni dođe, mama, šta je kopile? Zašto mene zovu kopile? Zašto sam ja kopile? Zašto nije ona, recimo, njena drugarca kopile, njen drug, zašto ona?
She loves her daughter, but there are moments when the past comes rushing back.
Facu, kad napravi facu me i dan danas. Toliko me pogodi nekad biti. Da nekako prevaziđem ili zapalim ili zađem na moment. To je samo sekunde.
All the rape mothers are troubled by this question of what to tell their children and when.
Ona je jako vezana uz mene i mi imamo tajni, ja je učim toliko da jednostavno da ne imamo tajni, jer ja još djetetu nikad nisam ispričala ništa nikako. Sve mi je žao, iz godine u godinu sve mi je više žao da je povrijedim, da sazna, da mislim da će mi ta trebati možda i stručna pomoć ili neko, ne znam kako će mi dijete reagovati na to.
In a majority of cases, they are telling their children that their fathers are killed in the war. They do not want to expose their children. They don't want that their children has a feeling that they are different from the other children. We advise them to tell children when children will be mature enough to bear the fact.
Some fear their child's rejection when they finally tell them the truth.
Žao mi dijete povrijedi, ja sad pričam, da, ja znam koliko će nju povrijediti. Ali je pripremala s tim što je vežem puno za sebe, da mi vjeruje, da me prije svega voli da bi mi mogla oprostiti.
The risk of them being told by strangers increases once they reach school age. And that's what happened to Alan, now 13.
Vraćali smo se u auto i on mene pita, kaže, babo, rekao mu, jedan komšija, dječak, njegov vršnjak, kaže da vi mene niste rodili, da nisam vaše dijete, da je njegova majka bacila u kontiner na kantu za smeće.
Alan has lived with his adoptive family since being abandoned at birth. His dad has told him what he could about his birth mother.
Pa on zna da je silovan od strane srpskog vojnika, gore ufa, ne znam niko ko je šta je. Majka je tu bila zarobljena i ona je silovana, niko ne zna, ne znamo ni mi, čak ni ja ne znam, ja što sam znao, ja sam mu rekao. Rekao sam mu istinu kako ga je majka rodila u bolnici u Goraždu, ostavila ga 2 sata bila jer ja sam tada radio u bolnici. To je spontano došlo tako da je ona njega rodila, nije čak htjela da ga podoji, samo rodila i čim se malo porala, pobjegla.
Da li imaš želju da pronađeš?
So is Alan still curious? Does he want to find his mother?
Pa za sad nemam, ali u stvari neću nikad imati. Mislim, sad imam svoje roditelje i nikako i ne razmišljam o tome.
Hoćeš mi ga pokazati?
Nije snimljen.
Zar nije?
Još nije.
Alan's life has been made into a film. Its director, Semsudan Gegic, wanting to break the subject's taboo.
Imao 2 imena. Edin i Pera.
Ja sam razgovarao sa majkama koje su ostavile djecu.
Učinimo s njim.
Nijedna neće da kaže definitivno da se odrekla svoga djeteta, nego da je tog trenutka odlučila tako. Tako zajednica mora biti upozorena. Moj film je upozorenje i strašan krik da se to više ne događa.
As Bosnian society's failure to accept them could sow the seeds of another war.
Ako to država ne prizna i ne kaže da postoje ta djeca, to će se nama ponoviti za narednih 10-20 godina.
Alan is clearly close to his adoptive father. Already bright and inquisitive, the love Alan receives has given him confidence even in his difference.
Sjećam se i na jednoj i na drugoj strani, ali mada više mislim da sam ja na muslimanskoj strani, u stvari da sam samo musliman.
10 years after the war, Bosnians are still in denial about these children, and many of their rapist fathers are walking free.
Prema tome treba doneti zakon, reći postoje ta djeca, to se dogodilo, oni koji su to učinili da idu na sud i da idu u zatvor, a oni koji su prihvatili tu djecu treba da dobiju stimulaciju i treba da dobiju podršku da bi ta djeca imala svoju budućnost.
These children have great potential, but as they mature, their search for identity will create some difficult days ahead.